Miss Alice Jackson. She owns a house down in Florence, and very active house. There's a lot of stuff coming up that I can't be at liberty to discuss, but there's some big stuff going on with the Mississippi house that y'all just keep an eye out for. Brad and Alice are really good people. We've been in there several times.
3 days one time, I believe. Stayed over. And
that's the time when we did the 48-hour investigation, and I left for the night, and I come back the next morning, and Doyle and another guy had stayed at the house, and they were getting ready to go to bed that night, and had a REM pod set up. Of course, we had recorders and all going, and cameras set up in there, going to our DVR system in our shadow unit, our mobile unit, and they were Kyle. He had a cot set up, and he was sleeping on it, and Doyle was in the bed, and the REM pod went off, and then a few minutes later, the fan, it's one of those push-button fans, just a real oscillating fan, said that the fan came on by itself on high, and it was just a push-button type, switch.
That would be hard to do, just come on by itself.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going
right after that.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, just as soon as that happened, we had one of our guys, he said, well, let him do an EVP session in there. And he had went in there by himself to the EVP, and he had asked, is anybody in here with me? And he got a response back that said no, and a laugh.
Yeah, but you still haven't had anybody ask you for a cigarette, have you?
Ask for a cigarette? No.
Well,
no.
You would think of all these people, right? Spirits and ghosts and stuff that smoked, not being able to have a cigarette. It's a bad joke, but I would think, you would have somebody in the background say, you got a cigarette? I don't know. Now, I got a question to ask you guys. Okay, for the audience out here, the listeners, walk us through the steps of how you find a place to go, then how do you set up? What's all involved with setting up, and what's your average stay in a location?
Good question.
As far as location-wise, I mean, we do research online a lot and try to find, different places. Of course, we've been to places that you've seen on TV, and we've that are kind of in that business to host investigations at whatever location. We've been to Sloss, Waverly, been to Trans-Allegheny, Moundsville State Penitentiary, a couple hospitals in Kentucky. Sorrel Weed, been there a few times, Moon River. Savannah, Georgia is like very, very active city. I mean, we try to look up some places, and we've got a long list of stuff that we've written down for future stuff, and then we just start trying to get contact information for those locations. One place that we were trying to get into for a couple of years and never could get any responses back. It's the old Arkansas Hospital, and I forgot how. I think I was online. Somebody was filming a live feed from somewhere, and kind of messaged them privately, and they gave me the background and gave me some background information on where they were. And it's kind of a gray area with that place, but it's really not. It's really not a place that gets a lot of attention. And kind of with this contact, I kind of narrowed down where we were, where he was, and he gave me the contact information. But we're going there in June. No, is it July? Yeah, we're going. Yeah, we're going in July there. That's in Arkansas, old Arkansas Hospital. Kind of stoked for that one. There's some places that charge just way out our funding means. I won't get into certain locations, but there's some places that are just so expensive, like you're out of your mind.
So,
once with the whole.
so some of these places where you want to go, they want to charge for you to do an investigation to prove that there is, spirits, ghosts, or something around. It sounds like they jumped on the bandwagon and want to make money.
Yeah, I mean, if you got a location that's knownly haunted, especially if it's been on TV,
But you've also got upkeep, you got taxes. I mean, they got bills to pay too.
Yeah, I mean,
And
a lot of these places that if they didn't, just like Brushy Mountain State Prison, if somebody didn't take over in Waverly Hills, if somebody didn't take over those locations and try to, restore the building and the history of everything, the place would be run down, demolished, and lost to history.
Well,
So,
I can see that. I just, and if you don't want to answer this question, that I understand. But I mean, to go ghost hunting in a warehouse or an old tavern or an old, prison, and they charge you, what is the average fee to go in there for the night than to, ghost hunt? I'm just kind of curious.
It varies. It varies from location, depending on what their fees are. Now we've gotten,
we're doing a prison. This other one they've invited us back to, the old Natchez jail. I mean, we go in there, anytime we want to. I mean, we've got so much for them and notoriety on it.
Yeah, there's several locations that we're just welcome with open arms. We've got Mississippi House. We've been there several times. They're really good people. The Adams County Jail. Natchez is pretty, or Vicksburg, Natchez. Natchez. For some reason I'm mixed up. Natchez has got a lot of history from the Civil War and all that. And
Longwood, we went down there for 3 days and helped them raise a little money. They had, I forgot, some kind of little festival they were having there. I don't remember the name of it.
Like reenactments and stuff. The tourists, the guides, I'd say, are dressed up in period clothing and all that, and they'll walk you through the place and do the history on Longwood. Longwood is the octagonal house that's in.
That's in Natchez.
That's in Vicksburg, and when the Civil War broke out, they were building the house, and when the Civil War broke out, the workers basically dropped the tools where they lay and went home to their families and got ready for the war and all that. We up in the upstairs area. Of course, they got it set up as a museum. Upstairs there's some crates and all that they were shipping some of the supplies, and I think the steeple that's on top of the building now was shipped in, and tell you how old it was. It didn't have your regular postal addresses that you have now. It just had Vicksburg, Mississippi. It had the name of the people, Vicksburg, Mississippi. That's it. It came from, I think, New York. So it came from New York to Vicksburg at the Longwood mansion, and all it had was their name and the city.
Now,
where it was going.
Now, have you guys ever gone to where they had any, the Civil War battles and stuff, and spent the night there, in the fields where I guess literally hundreds of soldiers died, and got anything? I'm just kind of curious.
We talked about going to Gettysburg. That's on our list too. But
there's a lot of places in Vicksburg, the Memorial Battlefield, but with any national park like that, I mean, I don't think you're allowed to go in there after dark.
Decent House was big Civil War location. They just had a movie come out about it, and I was trying to think of
Free State of Jones.
Yeah, Free State of Jones. We've been there.
I've got a question. You guys talk about having to pay to go into some of these places, so you've got that cost. You've got the cost of your equipment. You've got the cost to travel. You've got to eat. How do you guys fund that? Do you have people that sponsor you, or is this all out of your own pockets?
We don't have any sponsors. We'd love to have some sponsors.
Yeah,
It'd be awesome. You know, we might better go to a few more places that we, you know, been going.
You got to have a hobby, I guess.
Yeah.
It's a pretty expensive hobby.
You know, I've had a bunch of hobbies in my day. I played golf and paintball and martial arts, and you know, but it's probably the most expensive hobby I've had.
Yeah, but it's put it this way. I mean, with paintball, you get hit with a paintball and it hurts and you get a bruise. You know, if you go out and golf, you know, yeah, you get your exercise. But, you know, that gets boring, taking a little ball and then hitting it with a club, you know. But some people like it. But, you know, for a lot of people, I would think, you know, if, especially if somebody is really active, that would be really boring. So at least what you guys are doing is going from different locations, you know, the excitement. And, you know, some of those recordings you played on the last show and on this one, you know, it tells me there's something out there, you know, which I don't know what it is. But it's something. And at least you're getting and gathering proof, you know. And what I like about you guys, again, you know, like I talk to these two other groups, you know, if you take it serious, even if it's a hobby, it's costing you money, you're taking it serious like it's a serious thing. And that's what the problem is. Some of these groups don't do that. They don't take it serious. It's nothing more than either they want to be on TV and make money, or they do it as a social gathering. Well, you know, hey, it's a good way to meet a mate, I guess, or get out of the house and, you know, have a couple of beers, but they're not going to find anything.
Yeah. I mean, we've like I said, we've lined ourselves with some good group of people that go in on our investigations, and, you know, that helps cover some of the cost on the actual investigation of the location. So everybody kind of chips in, you know, evenly on, I'll throw a number out there, you know, it's $1,000 to investigate this one place for 24 hours, and you got 10 people, you know, involved, and that's $100 per person, opposed to, you know, two of us, you know, covering that. But you know, I mean, we go and have a good time with the location we go and see the history, and that's what's intriguing to me a lot is the back history of these locations, and you know, still seeing this building or whatever that's basically frozen in time. You know, just to get into doing the paranormal stuff and actually investigate it, you know, even better.
Well, you know, that's what's exciting. You know, I had an author on, maybe 5 months ago. He wrote a book, Gettysburg something. And what got him into it was that he bought an old house that was basically, you know, where the slaves, you know, used the basement, you know, for protection as they would travel to the next location. But he was remodeling the house, and he would put his tools, like, in one spot. And, you know, the next morning, the tools would be, you know, in a different room or in a different spot. And it happened numerous times. But then, you know, he wanted to go and, you know, because he decided to write the book about it. He was actually editor for a major newspaper at one time before he retired. He went to Gettysburg, where they had some of the battles. And he didn't hear anything with his recorder. But he said when he got home, he was just playing back stuff, and all of a sudden, you know, he heard marching on one of them, and then he also heard like music or something in another one, and singing. And he said it was absolutely nobody there, absolutely nobody.
That's what's wild about it too. I mean, you can go to a place, because at first we didn't think there was going to be much to Waverly. And then when we got back and I was throwing together the first video, everything was just jumping out at us. I mean, every time we turned around, there was another EVP, you know. So a lot of times something may not seem active at the time, but, you know, it's just waiting to come out when you go through what you've recorded.
You know, we've been to locations where, you know, it's, you know, a lot of groups have picked up different things from locations. We haven't picked anything up. Not to say that, you know, that place is...
They don't perform on
not
command.
on. It's like paranormal fishing. You know, you just gotta... Some days maybe they just don't want to talk to nobody, you know? especially if they're hearing the same questions and the same stuff. Like, oh my God, these people are coming here again.